It's the 30th anniversary of Turtles, 30 years. And the first thing I'd like to point out is it's all your fault.
Yeah.
Thank you,
so awesome.
Thank you. No, I can't believe it's like, we've done about 20 shows this year, my wife and I, and it's like, the reception is overwhelming, heartwarming. I feel honored, I feel blessed, I feel unworthy. But you guys are the best, and I really appreciate all the support and all the love you've given us over the years, and it's been an absolute joy to have worked on so many awesome Turtle projects, especially with so many talented people that help bring their characters to life. And I mean, I still remember when we were working on the first 5 cartoon episodes, which we were just talking about, and it's like, well, what do they sound like? We never, we had voices in our head of what they sound like, and then these guys made the magic happen. And it's like, once we heard the voices, we were like, this is what the Turtles sound like. How long dude? And,
I need to hear a little of that.
Yes.
Raphael here. Shredder, you tin-faced geek, get back here and taste cold turtle steel.
Dudes, I gotta tell you that my favorite pizza is anchovy and hot fudge! Bodacious!
And as the leader of the group, I think at least 4 times in every episode I would say,
We gotta think of something fast.
yeah, lay off, Leo.
do you want to start?
I don't have a catchphrase. Never did. You know, I'm just tinkering around in the lab.
Doing machine.
So that's my job, and that's what I do. And then these guys, are great. And also, I don't have a voice. It's just my voice. So that's it.
Kevin, this right in the front row is exactly what we're talking about. Madam, would you please look at this? This is great. This beautiful woman, right? Oh, God bless her.
She had nothing to do with it. Now that right there is what we call a micro dude.
No babies were injured in the making of this pen.
How great is that? That's exactly.
He's so adorable.
Thank you so much.
This is how generational.
That's precisely what we were talking about at lunch, is what Kevin and Peter created is so unique and so unusual that's like another generation removed. I mean, it's astonishing what you did, man.
It's the 17th generation of Turtle fans. I remember in Arc 6 when we started this whole thing.
It was 1784 when we created this.
So Kevin, I've got to ask the question because I haven't really sat down and asked you this question. How did you ever come up with this? How did you and Peter ever come up with this?
Let me adjust my Depends, and I'll tell you. No, it was, Peter and I grew up as absolutely huge fans of comic books. Our hero in comics storytelling was a guy named Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby, if you don't know, helped create most of the Marvel Universe. My favorite Jack Kirby comic was one called Commandy, and it was Commandy, the last boy on Earth. And where I grew up in this small town in Maine, I really felt like I was the last boy on Earth because I read comic books, I was fat. I was just this huge geek, and that was my dream, was to be Jack Kirby. And when I met Peter Laird, we shared the same dream, and we literally started working together right away. And so we formed a studio called Mirage Studios, and it was a mirage because it was our living room in this small town of Dover, New Hampshire. And I used to say, Pete would watch the worst TV shows in the world. He'd watch T.J. Hooker and A-Team, and I felt it was my job to annoy him as much as possible while he was watching his favorite shows. So one night in November, I did this sketch, and I sort of thought to myself, imagine if Bruce Lee was an animal character. What's the dumbest animal you could imagine? And a turtle came to mind right away. And so I did the sketch of Michelangelo was the first turtle ever drawn. So I did this funny sketch of this turtle standing upright. He had nunchucks strapped to his arms and he had a mask on, and I kind of put it on his desk and I said, this is the next big thing. Ha ha ha. And he loved it, of course. And we were laughing, and studio one-upmanship. He did a drawing and changed some things, improved some things. And so then I had to top his drawing. So I did this sketch with 4 turtles, each with different weapons. I had this kind of comic book logo on the top that said Ninja Turtles. And I did it in pencil, and when he inked it in, he had a Teenage Mutant. And we were just like, oh man, this is the dumbest thing we've ever seen. And so we literally got up the next morning, and as I love to say, we didn't have any distracting paying work going on. And so we said, look, let's come up with an idea, let's come up with a story of how these characters got to be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we're not going to send it out as to Marvel or DC, anything. This is ours, we love it, we're just going to publish it ourselves. So I got a $500 income tax return. We cleaned out all $200 of Pete's bank account. I borrowed $1,000 from my uncle. We had enough to print 3,000 comic books. And we were so sure, after we got them printed, and this was April of 1984, that we wouldn't sell one single copy, that we actually made furniture out of the boxes of books that came back from the printer. We made a coffee table and an end table and all that stuff. And then to our surprise and our parents' surprise, we thought we were going to be living the rest of our life in their basement. Well, he likes comic books and he's a little weird. He lives in the basement, and we throw down food every once in a while. Pizza. And so that was really the origin. And it's funny. When we did the first comic book, it wasn't until we did actually the second issue of the Turtles, when we got the orders in from the distributors. We went from 3,000 comic books on book 1 to 15,000 comic books on book 2. And I remember Pete calling me and going, we got 15,000 comic books ordered. Do you know if we print 6 issues a year, we'll make about $2,000 each per issue. We can pay our rent, we can eat all the macaroni and cheese we want, we can draw comic books for a living. And that to me is always when the dream came true for both of us, is because we were now living the dream of our hero, Jack Kirby. We were actually drawing comic books for a living, and it was just, I can remember, out of so many fantastic things that happened over these 30 years with the Turtles, that's still the moment that you guys gave me the greatest job ever, and 30 years later, I'm still drawing Turtles for a living. That's fantastic. I want to segue into 2 things. One is when these guys came in. When we started working on the first Turtle comic book came out in 1984, and we started working on the first animated series, and I think it was late 86, 87. The first series came out in the Christmas holiday break. We did 5 episodes, and working on the different colored bandanas, the personalities, working with the voice talents, and seeing all this thing come together. And Pete and I were still absolutely positive, nobody's going to put this on the air. This is just, I can't believe it even sold as a comic book. Who's going to put this on the air? And it wasn't until we saw it in the TV guide, I got like, holy crikey, this thing's actually going to be on TV. And
That's as far as that was going to go.
That was it.
Yeah.
And
maybe TV, never movies. No.
Again, your fault. You ended up watching it, and we started doing. So it was like between Christmas and New Year's, the first episodes came out, and my other favorite early on story, before I want to talk about the movie because that was such a fantasy, was when the first toys came out in 1988. KB Toys was the big toy store chain at the time, and we heard the toys had shipped, and they were in stores, and so Pete and I drive from Northampton, Massachusetts down to Springfield, and we're walking to the toy store towards the action figure aisle, and just as we get there, there's this mom dragging this young boy out of the action figure aisle going, no, I'm not buying you one of those stupid Ninja Turtles. And we were like, immediately like, oh my God, what have we done? So then the shows aired that fall, and it was a huge success. The animation was a huge success, and immediately bringing in other shows. I want each of you guys to tell us some personal stories about that, but then when I met Judith, it was amazing because everybody said, well, we've done toys, comic books, the next thing is a movie. And we're like, this is going to be impossible. How do you actually, you can see how it worked from comic book to animation and toys, but how are we going to make this a live action movie? We'll enter in Steve Barron, first of all, who's the most awesome director in the world. He did Dire Straits, Money for Nothing, Michael King's Billy Jean, Video, Big Bad Man. And he brought in Todd Langdon to write the script, and then, okay, who's going to bring these characters to life? And enter the incredible Jim Henson and the Creature Show.
Yeah.
And it was just, and I still remember when we first met, so it was like, okay, we've seen pictures, we've seen the sculptures, we've seen some of the tests. We went down to Wilmington, where they're shooting in North Carolina. I remember going from the front office to the back lot, and it was like, the back lot is all staging, it looks like a construction site that's about ready to collapse. And it was a night shoot, and I turned the corner, and Pete and I, and there's New York City lit up beautifully, wonderfully, spectacularly. We walk around this other corner, and there's all 4 turtles in full costume. Michelangelo's got a sombrero on, he's dancing and stuff. You know, Judith's running around, Steve's running around, everybody's lighting with this and that, and there's foot ninjas, and with this, it was the most mind-blowing thing you could ever imagine in your life. And, beyond, it was like, I still think about it, and it gives me goosebumps. But, so let's talk to some of the animation guys about some of their early experiences, and then Judith can talk about what we were just talking about.
I have a question for you. Was that your first movie? Was it your first film?
No, it was my 3rd movie, but I was shooting a movie at the same time, and actually I was cast in Ninja Turtles, and it didn't look like the 2 movies were going to work out.
No.
And then it ended up it worked out.
And you and Elias Cortez, right?
Yeah, Elliot. Yeah.
Talk about
Yeah,
what
he's,
careers you guys have had. I mean, did they ever pick some kick-ass actors?
I love this man.
Oh, no.
I do. I flat out.
And you're continuing to work. And and Barry and I were just talking about Nashville, you know, and Elias. I was just watching Elias on The Killing.
Yeah.
What an actor!
He's an amazing actor.
Oh my God.
He's an amazing actor. He was a tremendous amount of fun to work with.
Yeah.
And at that time when his hair was long,
Yeah.
he was such a dead ringer for Robert De Niro.
He was.
He really did. And there were moments where I would just think, you two need to do a movie together. But yeah, it was a pretty special experience.
No, that was, I remember the first when I saw him when we were shooting the night scene in the park, Raphael, and he was so worried to meet me because he said, I'm not doing a good job, I don't see this. And I was literally thought, this is Robert De Niro's telling me he can't do a good Casey Jones. And I said, dude, you're fantastic. Every sense of the word. And it was like,
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy.
but I was telling Judith, she hasn't done very many comic book shows, and I've done a lot of them over these years. And
This is my first.
This is
As of yesterday, I was a virgin.
But I always tell her that, you know, so many fans discovered the Turtles from the original cartoon series, and over the years we've done many different versions of the Turtles, and when people ask me what my favorite version of the Turtles, favorite interpretation out of all of these worlds, and when I ask the fans the same question, most people say the first Turtle movie. Because it married the original black and white comic books with the animated show so perfectly. Uh-oh, what's coming down the aisle? Don't look now. We're being invaded. I think those are the Texas Turtles.
Oh my gosh! These guys look a lot like some friends of ours.
We need to put you all together.
Wow!